Sir, quick question about the employment rate.
We got more jobs than ever before. Beautiful jobs. Millions. So many people. So many jobs. The jobs are applying to us.
Then why are Stanford graduates struggling? And, how many job postings are real?
All of them. Some are so real, they do not need employees.
Strength by 720,000
They don't need
people
employees
in
at
June.
all. Okay, fake news.
Sir.
Fake news.
Sir.
You seem like a nasty guy.
The slowing U.S. job market has made looking for work nearly impossible for many Americans.
A dismal hiring outlook for the graduating class of 2026.
Surveys show the job prospects for recent graduates are down significantly from a year ago, so what is going on?
My generation is entering the most cooked job market of all time.
Even Stanford graduates are struggling to get hired. Everyone else is sending hundreds of applications into silence. But here's what nobody tells you. Some companies benefit more from keeping a job vacant than filling it. And I'm going to show you exactly how. If you have spent months applying but heard nothing, stop asking what is wrong with you for just the next 10 minutes. Some companies are not rejecting you. They are keeping you nearby as a free backup plan. Real jobs exist, and not every old listing is a conspiracy. But boards, major investors, executives, and finance teams control whether a job receives money long before you see apply now. I call these people invisible elites because applicants feel their decisions before they even get the job. These invisible elites are united by one theory only. Can we get to work without adding another permanent salary? Ghost jobs are one way to test that question. By the end, I will give you 3 practical ways to spot fake opportunities, reach real ones, and build options while you wait. Here is a ghost job definition in plain English. The advertisement is live, but the company is not actively trying to hire someone for it. The role may be stale, paused, or promised internally, but a company may also leave it online intentionally in order to collect resumes, signal growth for the company, or calm an overworked team. The ad and interview may be very, very real. The urgent intention to hire is not. A 2024 Resume Builder survey found that 40% of hiring managers surveyed said their company had posted a fake job during the previous year. That does not mean 40% of all job ads were fake, but what matters is what those managers admitted the listings were being used for. 63% said the postings helped convince employees that extra help was coming, and 62% said they helped make employees feel replaceable. You're probably wondering, but Delulu, these emissions came from 2024, but the motive didn't change since. That's the thing. In a newer 2025 survey of 1,000 American employers, Clarify Capital found that 1 in 5 intentionally kept jobs unfilled to cut costs while appearing to hire. And another 1 in 5 said they felt pressure from investors to maintain the appearance of growth through job postings. By mid-2026, lawmakers in at least 5 states had introduced bills targeting ghost job advertisements. In fact, New York went even further. It passed both chambers of the state legislature, and as of this recording, that does not make it law, but it does show that ghost jobs have moved from internet complaints into actual legislation. They are trying to manage you through an imaginary coworker, which leads to my first theory. Ghost jobs are not always failed attempts to hire. Some are successful attempts to control how people behave. The applicant keeps applying, the existing employee keeps covering the vacancy, and investors see a company preparing for growth. You're killing 3 birds with 1 stone. Stick around to the very end, because by the end of the video, I'll show you 3 principles to deal with this. And if you enjoy investigations like this, consider subscribing. Wait till you see this. Stanford researchers, citing New York Fed data, reported that unemployment among recent U.S. college graduates reached 5.6% in early 2026. Just for comparison, it is up from approximately 4% 3 years earlier and 3.6% before the pandemic. That is a whopping 40% increase in 3 years and approximately 56% since 2019. Newer New York Fed data show that the rate remained around 5.6% through the second quarter of 2026. For comparison, overall U.S. employment was just 4.2% in June. In layman terms, recent graduates were therefore facing an unemployment rate roughly 1.4 percentage points higher. Just to put that into perspective, young people had done everything they were told, right? They got the degree, they built a resume, they completed the freaking internships, and were now more likely to be unemployed than the average worker. That does not make a college degree worthless. It means even some of the strongest candidates are reaching a market with fewer beginner doors. Then come experienced experienced tech workers, removed during years of layoffs. They now compete against graduates for jobs that once were perceived to be beneath them. Then come mid-career workers who are somehow overqualified for junior roles and underqualified for senior roles at the same time. Then come people working shifts, raising children and paying rent while completing applications after midnight. These are people with very different lives, different resumes, but all gunning for the same jobs. Speaking of job applications, as many of you watching may know, LinkedIn is the land of ghost jobs. AI-written inspirations and people being humbled by awards they nominated themselves for. Somehow it is becoming a dating app. A 2026 survey reported 1 in 8 workers had a romantic relationship that began on LinkedIn. On Tinder, people get to lie about their height, but on LinkedIn, they lie about leading a global transformation. LinkedIn remains the world's leading professional platform for... Hang on a second. At this point, LinkedIn's most useful function is to help you get a girlfriend. This seems funny, but it actually is a very revealing fact. A platform built to show professional opportunities can produce dates, but applicants still cannot tell which company truly wants to hire them. So how did the job market become a showroom full of job opportunities, but with so few commitments behind them? For that, we have to go back to the year when companies had the exact opposite problem. Now let's follow the money, because 2021 explains why delaying a hire became so attractive. During the pandemic, digital demand exploded, tech profits surged, stock prices climbed, interest rates were near zero, money was cheap, growth was rewarded, and aggressive expansion looked like a smart move. But companies were not only hiring people because they needed them, they were hiring people to prevent competitors from getting them first. Then the pandemic boom ended and the demand normalized. Interest rates rose and growth became expensive. Investors stopped asking, how quickly can this company expand? They started asking, how much profit can this company produce with what it already has? The value of an employee changed almost overnight. Here's the corporate talent cycle. Now first, companies race to grow. They hire for today and to keep good people away from competitors. Teams grow faster than useful work. Then investors demand profit. Companies collect candidates without committing to salaries. The same companies suddenly need workers and the hiring race starts all over again. These companies now describe the hiring boom as an innocent forecasting error. Executives made a very aggressive bet. When the bet worked, leadership received the credit. But when it failed, employees paid for the correction with their livelihoods. Now this guy here, venture capitalist and former PayPal executive Keith Rabois, in 2023 claimed Google had intentionally hired more engineers than it needed to prevent those engineers from working elsewhere. But this is an industry insider's allegation, not independently verified evidence, so just treat it as an allegation. But the invisible elites learned a very, very important lesson here. How they took it was not, we hired too many people. What they learned was, we committed to too many people. Hiring only when the missing employee becomes more expensive than the salary. They basically want access to your labor without responsibility over your livelihood, because we're all supposed to be adults, and this is just the game of capitalism. This is where ghost jobs fit into the correction. After cutting permanent headcount, companies still want candidates available if demand suddenly returns. A ghost pipeline gives them both no salary commitment today, but a folder of possible workers tomorrow. And the money saved on permanent payroll has not simply disappeared. It's being allocated somewhere else. Reuters reported that Microsoft, Meta, Oracle, Amazon, and Alphabet had collectively committed more than $1 trillion in future lease payments, much of it connected to data centers. That money has to come from somewhere. That does not mean every layoff pays for a data center, but the shift in priorities is crystal clear. Companies are squeezing permanent labor costs while investing heavily in technology that allows smaller teams to produce more. Before AI, 10 workers produce 100 units. After AI, 6 workers and AI can also produce 100 units. Invisible elites are testing how far they can push before customers, workers, or the businesses begin to suffer. This is the agenda, not a world with no jobs, a world where permanent employment becomes way harder to earn, easier to withdraw, and cheaper to replace. And here's why that change can be difficult to see in the official unemployment rate.
So many jobs.
When a company leaves a vacancy unfilled, nobody necessarily gets laid off. The existing team absorbs the work, but the applicant remains outside. And after months of rejection, some people give up the search altogether. together. Once they stop actively searching, they are no longer counted as unemployed. Look at June 2026. One BLS survey estimated that the US economy added 20,000 payroll jobs. That sounds positive, but a separate BLS household survey estimated that the labor force fell by approximately 720,000 people during the same month. These figures measure different things, so they do not contradict each other. And the 720,000 decline does not mean all those people gave up or that ghost jobs caused them to leave. Some retired, some became caregivers, some returned to school, others stopped searching for different, reasons. A person can struggle to find work for so long that they eventually disappear from the measurement of people struggling to find work. That is how the economy can continue adding jobs while applicants experience one of the worst hiring markets in years. That brings us back to the key imbalance. This is how you can stop wasting your precious time on ghost listings and start building options of your own. We have identified 3 separate problems, so each principal must answer one of the problems directly. The supposedly safe path now contains ghost jobs, hiring freezes, AI screening, layoffs, 5-round interviews, and one company controlling your entire income and well-being. This is why it may be the best time in years to take a calculated risk. And this is not because everybody should resign, not because entrepreneurship is easy. Nobody ever said that. And not because a man beside a rented Lamborghini told you to escape the matrix. So principle number 1, verify the vacancy. The first principle answers the ghost job problem. Before spending hours applying, do the following. First, check when the job was posted. Second, look for evidence that the team is growing. Third, contact somebody connected to the role. And fourth, be cautious if the same position keeps returning. Treat a public listing as nothing but a possible lead. If the vacancy appears real, you still face the second problem. Hundreds of qualified people are rushing through the same door. So principle number 2, build access before you need it. Publish useful work, speak with people in the field, join relevant communities, build a small number of real professional relationships. The goal is not to send fake compliments to 700 strangers. It is to become known by a few people who can tell you when a real opportunity is moving. That helps you locate a real door before the crowd reaches it. But access cannot protect you from a layoff, a bad manager, or a company changing its plan. That requires the third principle. Principle 3, build runway, proof, and discipline. Save enough to survive from one bad manager, layoff, or necessary exit. Then build something visible outside your resume. A project, case study, a product, a useful body of work. Runway gives you time. Proof gives people a reason to trust you. And self-discipline ensures you do not waste both. Because freedom without discipline is absolutely nothing but employment with better lighting. The goal is not to abandon employment. It is to stop one employer from controlling every route into your future. Most people do not want 7 income streams. They just want a real job that pays their bills, right? They want to keep it simple. But after the AI screening, unpaid assignment, fake interview, and reposted vacancy, sometimes you just want to go it. You were taught to spend your life becoming valuable to your employers. Now you must become less dependent on them because companies are turning employment from a commitment into an option. Hire when demand rises, delay when budget tightens, and cut when investors demand margins. And keep advertising whilst you wait. So your job can remain part of your plan, it just can no longer remain the entire plan. The ghost job generation is spending too much of its life applying for nothing. Start building something real before you are forced to. Now you know, you can know. If you want to see more investigations into the systems that quietly shape modern life, like and subscribe. The system fears a free mind. See you next time.